I'm here with Dr. Lee Badgett, who's Professor of Economics at the University of Massachusetts. And Lee, you've done several studies into the economic costs of LGBT discrimination and the case for improving profitability and productivity in those. One of the most exciting things I think you really got a lot of interest around at today's conference was wage data. What's the wage gap for LGBT staff?
There have been lots of studies that show that gay and bisexual men in particular earn less than heterosexual men who have the same kind of qualifications, their education level, experience, those sorts of things that matter a lot for people's wages. And so a recent study that compared all of those around the world found that on average, gay and bisexual men are earning about 11% less. So you could sort of think of that as a little global gay wage gap, I guess. For lesbians, it's more interesting and complicated. Lesbian and bisexual women actually earn more than heterosexual women do, which some people are very surprised by. But it turns out that there's two things going on. One is the lesbians are working more hours, more weeks of the year. And secondly, they're both groups of women, and we know that they're often relatively disadvantaged, so you still see the lesbians below both the gay and the bisexual men.
Right.
So that's why we see that difference. But so it shows that there's definitely some interesting things that are both bad in terms of the gay wage gap and things that are, sort of point to positive directions in the lesbian wage advantage.
Okay, you looked at the same kind of data for countries as well. And you quoted a fantastic statistic this morning that was around for each 1 point of rights improvement that you have could equate to a certain percent of GDP that you've measured. Tell us a little bit about that.
The idea we were following up on was that if countries if we're saying that it's good for them, there's a good business case or a good economic case for LGBT equality, then we would expect countries that are more equal to be doing better economically. So we looked at 39 emerging economies, different parts of the world, and what we found was when we compared our index of rights, things like decriminalization, non-discrimination laws, recognition of families, when we compared that to GDP per capita, we found that countries with one more right on average are getting about a 3% increase in GDP per capita.
Wow.
So it's not that you can just suddenly pass a law and see a big boost in GDP. It probably goes kind of in both directions. I think countries that are doing better economically are just going to be more supportive of individual rights and LGBT rights. But there's definitely something I think that's building from the ground up, that countries that are more inclusive of LGBT people are just going to have an economy that works better. They're going to be using people's full experience, their full productive capability, and that's a good thing for economies, and it's a good thing for the LGBT individuals as well.